From when does one become the Bechor? Does he become the Bechor from when he was born, or before that, from when his mother became pregnant? This is a very serious shayla, and it could have very, very serious halachic ramifications. There was a story that they say happened in Vilna, where a man married one woman, and he divorced her quickly. Shortly after that, he divorced her, and he remarried somebody else. A bunch of months later, the second wife had a baby first, had a boy, and then the first wife had a baby, boy. And the question is, which one is the Bechor lנחla? Which one is his Bechor? Do we go by Rashis Oinoi? He obviously made the first one pregnant first, the one that he divorced. Or do we go Basar Peter Rechem, and the second one, his second wife, gave birth first? So this question came to the Gaon, and the Vilna Gaon said that case, that's the scenario which the pesukkim in Parshas Seitzei are talking about, and he explained a whole bunch of obvious problems with the pesukkim of this parsha, and he explained it with this story. He says, the pasuk says, Kisiyana l'shtei nashim, ha'achas ahuva v'achas snua. So first of all, since when do you have a snua? Snua, you're not allowed to hate somebody. We're calling her a snua because it's our case. It's a case where he had one wife which he divorced, so she's a snua. V'yoduloi bonim ha'ahuva v'asnua. So the Torah says clearly, it seems to say that ahuva gave birth before the snua. V'yoduloi bonim ha'ahuva v'asnua. But still, v'hoya ben ha'bechor asnua. If the ahuva gave birth first, so why is the bechor to the sneer? There it is, Zok the Vilna Gaon. It's this case. It's the case where he divorced the first one, and then he married the second one, and the second one gave birth first. So, but the bechor goes to the first one because the first one is Reishis Oinei. And he explains that that's the pshat in the next pasuk and the next pasuk. He says, the pasuk says, why should the father want? Why does this father want to play favoritism and give to the ben ahuva? So you think because he likes his mother, so he wants to give him first? So no, because he wants to give him first because he's his firstborn. He's his peterechem. And the Torah says, no, you can't do that. Why? Because he's the first one he's the first one that was conceived. He's his Reishis Oinei, and therefore he's the one that gets Bechor first. That's how the Gaon explains this pasuk. And it's brought down it's brought down Shem the Gaon and Kol Yo. It's also brought down into Chacham Shlomo in Choshen Mishpat, Siman Reish Ayin Ches brings it down b'Shem Reb Chaim Volozhiner, and they recently came out with a Sifri, a Pirush that's Mirchas to Ravid on the Sifri, and Reb Yososha was medayik from that Ravid the same halacha that it goes that the Bechor does not have to do with Peter Rechem, doesn't have to do with which one was born first, has to do with which one was conceived first. Childish. Now, Lamaisa the Hamek Dover says that Shekid b'shmoy shel Gaon can't be. Such a thing never happened. It has to go Basaleda. Arik also says on Reb Chaim Volozhiner, he says he can't believe that such a thing should have came out of the mouth of a tzaddik like Reb Chaim Volozhiner. And the Chacham Shlomo and the Shalom Mesha that bring it down, they themselves also are chayza. And the reason why the chayza is from a kasha in Parshas Toldos. We have Rashi in Parshas Toldos. We all remember. Rashi says, "V'achrei ken yotza echav Yaakov came alam v'yodei chesed b'kei Eisav." So Rashi brings down that he brings down a medrash agodah hadeish lufi pshutai that there was a reason why Yaakov Avinu was holding on and trying to hold back Eisav from going out first and being peterech. And Rashi explains that a rechem, the rechem of the mother is like a shofar shapir katzara. It's like a tube that's thin, a thin tube that is they could only go in and out single file. So the first one that goes in is first in, last out. First one that goes in, then the second one comes in when there's twins, Then so the first one that came in is stuck in. He's locked inside. He can't come out until the second one comes out. So Yaakov Avinu was the first one in, and therefore he was stuck inside. He couldn't go out until Eisav came out. So Eisav was the Peterachem, but Yaakov Avinu was trying to be the first one, the Yitzira, the Rashis Oinu, the first one in, and the first one out. That's why he was holding on to the heel. So from this Rashi that we do see a little bit like the Goyim. We see that somehow the fact that the Yaakov Avinu was Rashis Oinu, that does give him some sort of a taina that he wants to be first. But it's not enough, because L'maisa Eisav was the Bechor. We know that Eisav was Peterachem, Eisav was the Bechor, and Yaakov Avinu had to buy it from him. So it doesn't go by who was Yoitzer first. It doesn't go by Rashis Oinu. It doesn't go by who was first conceived. It goes by who was firstborn. That's the kasha on this guy. So I want to say like this. The truth is that is it always like this, that every single Peterachem is every rechem is a shvefer shapir ketzar? It's always a thin single file line, one in, one out, and then you can't and nobody could jump ahead. We know later on by Zerach and Peretz, by Thomas twins, that first Zerach stuck out his hand, he pulled it back in, and then Peretz came out. So obviously there is some sort of a wrangling. It is possible that somebody who's inside could come out first. It doesn't have to. You don't have to be. It's not a single file line, right? That seems to be a raya from Zerach and Peretz. And I found that the Ber Basada asked this kasha, and he asks another kasha also. He asks a kasha from Ruvain. Ruvain, we know, was also born with a twin. So what are we going to say over there? The Torah says, Yaakov Avinu says, Kerchi v'reishis oini, right? So Ruvain was his first from the Tipa Rishona, right? So we have to say that Ruvain was first in. And we're going to say that Ruvain was second out, that his sister was born first. He wasn't the Peterachem, he wasn't the Bechor. Oh. So it could be like this. That's for sure that many times, and most of the times by twins, just because one came in first, it doesn't mean he's second out, last out. And there's room, and it's not a shefer shapir ktsara, and one could come out first, one could come out second. It doesn't make a difference. And therefore, by twins, since we don't know which one's first and which one's last, we always have to go by Peterachem. We have to go by which one was born first. That's how there's no other Eisav, because we don't know. Just because one was born first, it doesn't mean he was conceived second or conceived first, because either one could chapsa charayin, either one could go out first, like we find by Peretz and Zerach. By Yaakov Avinu and Eisav is the only time where we say shefer shapir ketzara. Why? Because we see that Eisav came out and Yaakov Avinu was holding on to the heel, which means that Yaakov Avinu was trying to get ahead. He was trying to cut him off and get ahead, and he couldn't. Why is that? So that we explained, the Yaakov Avinu was stuck inside, and it was a shefer shapir ketzara by Yaakov and Eisav it was. And over there, Yaakov couldn't get out because Eisav was in his way. But since in general, and by all twins, just because one is in first, it doesn't mean he's going to come out second or vice versa. So by twins, we always have to go, the only way we could decide which one is older is only by the Leda, only by which one was born first. Mashen came when there's two mothers. Over there, we could, like in the case of in Vilna, we could know Reishis Oinai by knowing who was married first, if she got divorced after that. And we don't have to go Basa Leda, so there it makes sense, of course, to go Basa Reishis Oinai, because the father, Reishis Oinai, has to do with who he gave birth to, who he impregnated first, and his Bechor, his Reishis Oinai, for sure should have to do with the Shasi Royan, and it shouldn't have to do with the Shas Leda and the Peterachem. So the Goyin remains. The Goyin is the Goyin. We could be miyashla. The Goyin is the Goyin's halacha is true by the two mothers, and it's just by Yaakov and Eisav, where it's twins, and by twins in general, we can't know from the way one came in first which one's coming out second. Over there, we have to go Basa the Pater.